only 24 hours to pay his huge debt. A public servant runs in
All right there. Well, good evening and welcome. This is your Superstation Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Animwaa Anim Addo, and this is Strong and Sassy. Well, hello there. So good to be here. Should I say happy Easter in advance? Looking forward to a really long weekend. So I'm sure you're really happy if you're driving home or if you're home. Thank you so much for choosing to listen to us. As always, we're live and interactive on Facebook, Joy 997. We would love for you to interact with us there. Send us your questions, your comments, your thoughts, and whatever's going on in your mind, really, concerning the topic, not like random things, though. Once again, you're warmly welcome. This is Strong and Sassy. So tonight, we're having a conversation on women over 30. There's a current TikTok trend that's going on, very interesting, showcasing the beauty and elegance of women over 30, over 40, over 50, and really, kind of putting in motion the idea that a woman's beauty is timeless and that she doesn't necessarily lose value as she gets older, which is something that we've been made to feel a lot, especially in our society. Also, there was some trending story on Facebook about how generally a woman loses her value as she goes on over 30. And of course, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but opinions are not facts. So let's just keep that in mind. So that's why we wanted to have this conversation. And we're joined by three very diverse and interesting women with different experiences when it comes to age, marriage, relationships, divorce, remarriage, divorce again, remarriage, divorce again, remarriage. We could go on and on and on. But joining me tonight on Zoom, first of all, is Dr. Rosemond Osei Kranting. She's a senior specialist radiologist at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Let me see if I can just say hello to her real quick. Hi. Hi, Doc. Can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me.
Hello, I can hear you.
Okay.
To you, to your audience, and to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. And then joining us in studio, Juliet Kujo, who is a sales executive, and Auntie Francisca Padiki. Francisca Padiki. So I'm saying Auntie Francisca because please go on Facebook. Like, her dark glasses are tight. Like, it is given Auntie. She's a journalist and CEO of SAF Fashion Trends. Good evening and welcome to all of you.
Good evening.
For being here with us. Let me start with you, Juliet, just because. So I think you're the only unmarried.
Yes.
Actually, you and I. But in terms of guests, you're the only unmarried woman amongst us. What's it like being over 30 and being unmarried?
For me, I think it's an interesting phase. It's an interesting phase, and for me, it was a personal decision.
Okay.
To stay single for a while. I actually have a son who is about 4 years old. So when I had my baby, I decided to just give myself some time to know what I want next. Because, once you have a baby or once you hit 30 and above, there's so many things that come to play. You're thinking of so many things before you accept a proposal. So it's a personal decision that I made to make sure that I know what I want next before I enter into any relationship or I enter into a dating scene. So yes, it's not like I've dated a couple of people, but I know what I want, so I'm just waiting for the right.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you're looking for?
Okay, I think for every woman, whatever we look for is one, stability, because where I work, I also have some kind of income that I earn, and I expect that my man should also have some kind of income as well. So it should be stable when it comes to especially finances. It's very important when it comes to this modern day and era, because we definitely, a child, you can't just say God will provide. You have to provide. You have to meet certain basic needs like food. Now
Clothing,
to
shelter,
clothing,
rent is expensive.
car is now not a luxury, it's a necessity in Accra, especially that we are in. So I think stability and focus or forecast, and someone who is kind and respectful. At a certain age, you don't really look, when we're younger, we're thinking, I want a fine guy, tall, dark, But when you get to not a certain age, but when you grow, you realize that all that may not be what exactly is needed in a man.
I still want a fine guy.
Of course, we still do, but I think that there are certain...
Can't be annoying and ugly.
Yeah.
Because they are all annoying.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least it should complement.
But I feel like there are certain things that you have to look out for in a man. There's some people you meet, you're like, oh, this person is ugly. But you get to know them and you realize that they have a beautiful heart. They have a beautiful, personality. And knowing them, you don't really care if somebody says that, oh, we are with this person or not. It's a personal decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what I would say.
So that's you.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Francisca, you have been married for 9 years.
Yeah.
And you got married young.
Yeah.
Quite young.
I'd say that at the time, what I felt I needed is what I did.
Okay.
Growing up, it depends on what age you are and then the decisions you make. We all have scale of preferences. And trust me that what I think I know now, I didn't know then.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Juliet said, your scale of preference changes with time. Even your taste changes with time. So I would say at the time, it was a decision I had to make. And I felt I made the right choice.
Okay. So, okay, I won't ask you. I don't want to put you into trouble.
Oh, no, don't worry.
So, I mean, if preferences change, for example, like you said, you got married at 23. So a good 9, 10, 11, 12 years later, would the things that you were looking for then, would they have been the same things you're looking for now?
Okay, so let me broaden the scope a bit. I think in Africa, girls are rather taught how to be and not to go for what they want.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I also should say I went through that kind of challenge.
Okay.
Of being. You, as a girl child, you have to be like this, you have to be like that. But you see, with a guy who was at my age when I got married would never think of getting married. Because what do I have? I'm going to be the provider, I'm going to be paying rent, I'm going to be paying fees and what have you. But with a woman, they tell you, the higher you go, it's not really necessary. So at some age in your life, you begin to see marriage as a necessity. That is with Africa. The psychological training we are given from our homes, our individual homes. So you begin to put the marriage first. That is what most women here in Ghana and Africa at large do. You see that the person is educating herself, or she's getting some level of education. At some point, she herself begins to question herself that, oh, am I really not going too far? Shouldn't I pause and then try to make babies? My clock is ticking.
Yeah.
I don't have time. They say women are like flowers. At some point, no man will come for you. At some point, you may have to settle for what is available and not what you want. So it's not about preferences changing, but I feel it should be more of we, the girls, being taught to go for what we want and know how to be some kind of person.
I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at 23, and I got married the first time at about 23, 24 as well. At 23, 24, do you even know exactly what it is that you want in a man? Have
Exactly.
you
You
seen
see,
enough of life?
Juliet said something like, in your early 20s, you be like, I want to find guy who is handsome, who can take me out, who is doing that, who can do this for me. And but when you mature, you realize that, oh, I can actually take care of myself. The same things I was craving for earlier or years back is something I can give myself freely at this time. So why worry?
I get that. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I get that. Let's go over to Doc now. Hi, Doc.
Hello.
Okay, so Doc, your experience is a little bit different.
Yep.
You found love again in your 40s.
Yep.
And it's, you know, something that I have had said to me a few times is that there's something really annoying about older women who have been divorced, because for some reason they find it easier to find second, third, fourth husbands than
Moving.
those who are just older and haven't been married. I mean, a number of people have said that to me, and I actually think in my interactions, I don't know if it's not data backed or research backed, but it seems to be true that, you know, once you've gone round the circus once, it seems easier to be able to get I was going to say another clown, but maybe I shouldn't. But just joking. But what was your experience like? I mean, getting divorced and then did you look for love? Did love find you? What was it like, you know, getting married again after 40?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening once again to your listeners and audience. For me, after the divorce, I waited for a bit, and then I decided to look for love. I went on so many first dates, and I was like, no, I think that I just have to wait for love to find me, because there was a lot of quote and unquote bad blood on the market. There was just too many people who were wrong for several reasons. And so I took a break. And then one fine day, I was just minding my business, being my usual self, going about my job. And love found me again.
Oh.
And you made a very interesting statement. You know, you mentioned that it seems like those who have been married before somehow find it easy to remarry. Come to think of it, it might actually be true. And I think off the top of my head, I can give at least one reason.
Okay.
You know, for women who have married before, whatever the reason was for which the marriage broke, it is very hard for you to go through marriage and not grow up. Definitely, you are going to grow up and mature in a way that life itself would never teach you. Marriage is that one place where you learn certain virtues and values and tolerance, things that people who have been married before can tolerate. A young single woman may never imagine tolerating it. And if you are given the option, you will never put yourself in that situation. But with marriage, you learn certain things about life. And so when you get back onto the market, you are more matured in a way that just happens because you have been married before. And men, as they are looking for certain values in women. And it is easier for, I think, men to find these values in women who have taken the break of a marriage well, have learned from the experience, have made themselves better versions. And that is just what I think it is, at least in my case.
Right. Okay, so when Doc talks about tolerating things, she's not talking about abuse and, you know, violence and that kind of thing.
No.
She's talking about the really annoying things like not putting your socks inside the laundry baskets, like those kind of annoying those kind of things.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And they're not bathing and they're sneaking into the bed with, that's what we're not talking about. We're not talking about like the major. I mean, nobody gets comfortable or gets familiar with abuse and stuff like that. So that's definitely what Doc is talking about. So for you, Doc, finding love again was quite easy. Yeah. And did your age come into play? Was there ever a conversation about your age? And did you ever feel like it was putting you at a disadvantage?
Frankly, no. I went on several dates with several men, and it will shock you to know that most of them were younger than me.
Oh, okay.
And the proposal of marriage, yes, a lot of marriage proposals I got. were for men who were younger than myself, or at best at my age. There were a few older men, but I was surprised to find out that age really did not automatically mature a man. And I dated younger men who were far more matured and brought more value than the older men I had been on dates with. And it was I think it was shocking for me because I thought that I should go for an older man, somebody much older than me. He would be able to handle me better, understand me. But eventually, for me, I found someone who was young.
Oh, wow.
And it was perfect for me. Yeah. It was perfect. I don't think it was easy because I saw a lot of people before I met this one, a lot of people, and I was shocked. I'm like, at this age, I thought it should be easier to find a man who is matured and knows exactly what he's about. But really, age does not automatically make a man more matured.
Yeah.
It takes more than just age. But fortunately, I found someone, and it was good. When he came, it was easy. It was not difficult. There were women around him who were mostly younger, and a lot of them barely ached a lot about his choice because they're like, we are young, we've never been married before, never had children, so why her? And a lot of them came at him bluntly. But of course, he knew what he was looking for, and once you find it, that is that one thing you need, and you don't really care what else anybody says.
Wow. I was going to ask you about that because I can imagine what it must be like for younger women around, a nice young man, and then you're choosing a woman who's older and, probably has had children before. And again, then subconsciously it comes to play that because you're older, because you have experience, and because you have children, so there's something about value. Because if there was nothing about value, why would the question be, why are you picking somebody who's older, somebody who has kids and all of that, which really doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Yes, you are right. So when it comes to dating older women, like in my case, a few things. For some men, they will choose older women because they are likely to be settled, working, earning a decent living. In the past, we used to tell women to marry men who were okay financially, but now it is the other way. Men are also looking for women who bring more than a nice ass and a fine book to the table. So they want women who are working, hardworking, and not just in terms of financial stability. When you get to a certain age in life, you are really more concerned about peace of mind. You don't want drama. You don't want people who would pick up on every single mistake. Your value system changes as you go older. And so when you are young, the things you tolerate or try and live with, when you are older, you don't want to live with that kind of drama. And so you find somebody who is older, is not picky about certain things that we really should be picky about. And men are looking for peace, actually. Men who are older, they are looking for peace of mind, not just love and stability, but peace of mind so that they can go out there and do big things. When you are younger, it's like we are all starting from the same line. It is hard for you to tell who is going to become what in 10 or 20 years. So when you pick at that time, it is not so difficult. You just pick somebody and go along. You love them. They look beautiful. They are handsome. But when you are older, when you are 30, people would have differentiated more in terms of the job they do, the kinds of things they are doing with their life, their value system. They would have made enough mistakes. They would have kissed enough frogs or princesses and decided what they really need. And so at that age, when you are older, whether you are a man or woman, you know your value systems, you have refined what you want, you know exactly what you are looking for. And in the same vein, your sampling space will be smaller. Yeah. The people who would fit your criteria will be smaller. And so it will take you a much longer time to find the love you are looking for. But trust me, whichever value system you carry and whatever age you are, there is a man or woman out there who matches that criteria. You just need to put in a little more effort to find that person.
Yeah.
There's no man or woman who has too much values that they cannot find somebody who loves them and matches the value that they carry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Doc. Let me come back into it. So, Juliet, what is your plan for finding a husband?
Honestly, I think that I'm quite comfortable with my space
Oh
now.
gosh.
Yes, because I feel normally when you have too much expectations, when you have too much expectations, that's when you get disappointed, you get depressed, you get all those. So enjoy yourself. Along the line, you will definitely meet someone, or who knows, maybe you've even met the person already, but just that it's friendship. It's you're just trying to get acquainted with people, and we mistake in Ghana, we mistake dating to be relationships. So as at now, it's good that you date people, you get to meet people, you hang out with them. But once someone sees that you are going, and once they go out with you one, two, they feel like, oh, I'm dating you. No, you have the liberty to see as many people as you want to see, and then maybe later make your decision based on.
You sound like somebody who really is not in a hurry to settle down.
If it comes along the way, why not?
But
Just that
there's
it's not my priority.
Okay.
It's not a priority to me as at now.
Okay.
Even if it's this year and I want to marry, I would want to get married this year.
Okay.
Just that, as I said, normally when you think about it too much, you get depressed. You start, becoming so obsessed with the whole idea, of getting married and all that. And I feel like once you're desperate, you don't make the right decisions. You don't make the right decisions. When I even had my
That's
baby,
true.
as at the time I was pregnant, people were still proposing to me. I want to marry you.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
I
it
realized
happens.
that
It
once
happened to me.
you jump into it, you think that, oh, the person is trying to hold me and make me okay. You realize later, you say, oh, but he's not my son. That kind of thing. And I didn't want that. I wanted to know what I want for myself first before I take any next step from there. So I wish I could get married, but I'm not desperate to get married now.
Do you feel like and Francisca, you can start with this, but I think it's for all of us. Do you feel like we've kind of gotten to the place where women are more enlightened and more, I don't know what word it is, but we're not finding so much of our value in being married anymore?
Yeah. I think we've hyped, quote unquote, the idea of getting married far too long. Women are beginning to find themselves with time. We've realized that, okay, life is not all about getting married, because you get married and society is telling you that you are supposed to dress a particular way, behave in a particular manner, look a particular way, even talk to your own man in a particular way. I remember when I first got married, I was talking to my husband, like he was just by the roadside. We were talking, gisting and laughing, and one elderly woman in the neighborhood called me one afternoon. I was coming back from the market, and she said, yes, I want to be dear grow, but go be or high in dinner bonting. And I'm like, how? So I can't even flirt with my own man because it's Ghana and it's Africa, and you're supposed to be hiding behind closed doors to, quote unquote, be with your man. So I think the whole idea about women not being in a hurry to marry is because, like Doc said, she has been in it and is out of it. You enter marriage and then you see all the foul things a single lady would not even think of tolerating, like she said. And so once you go through all that phase and then you are out, you feel like, finally I can breathe. Oh, what a life, what freedom. You sleep in a particular way. Even when you are married with the man and he travels, gives you that space for some time, oh, it's heaven.
Wow. Francisca.
Oh yeah, it's not like it's a bad marriage or you don't want the man.
You can
But
lie
you
on the
cited
bed
an
how you
example. Instead of putting your socks in the laundry basket, he just throws it somewhere. He just throws it somewhere, and then you have to be picking things behind him,
asking them what they'll eat, and they never know.
So imagine
Yeah.
that the man has traveled. You are not going to ask
What
a
will you
grown man
eat?
what will you want to eat. Is my tie okay? Where's my socks? Where did you put my pants? All those questions are not going. So for some few hours, you are quiet and you feel yourself. So those who are not married, I think, are now rearranging priorities and setting the scale of preference right. So women should be taught that it is not all about marriage. You can decide to have 4 degrees and 10 masters before you get married. That is your choice. And it should be about what you want and not what society wants you to be or how you should be. It should be what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable in your own skin. So you first before any other person, be it your mom, your dad, family, what it should be you first. Go for what you want. Because when I started talking, I said that at some age from 20 25, between 25-30 is very shaky around that time because everyone is looking at you. By 25, majority of girls are done with first degree. You get my point?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
after first degree,
It's like the next thing
exactly the next thing, everybody wants you to walk down the aisle. Even when you get married and you have your first child, everyone is still asking you, when is the second baby coming? And you ask yourself, am I living for them? But just in case you have decided to space your children and make it 10 years, quote unquote, it should be no one's business. That is your choice because it's your body that is going to face the changes and carry the babies. But society is putting pressure on you. Hey, you need to have the next one. When you do it quick, it's good. But who knows what your body went through when you went through the pregnancy cycle? So I feel it's more of women realizing themselves. The horoscope around the world is changing. We are all getting to realize ourselves and our worth. That we are not supposed to live for a man. First. 2, you are not supposed to live for society. And you have a daughter and your daughter gets married. So it brings some kind of glory to the family.
Yeah,
and
well,
then you see...
Yeah, what's the glory that it brings
I,
exactly?
I can't tell because the bride price is even going to the lady herself. So what's the glory about that your daughter is married? But you see, when you are graduating, we don't even celebrate it as much as we celebrate marriages. But I
mean,
think
these
when
days it's getting better.
It's getting
We're
better.
celebrating achievements
Exactly.
more, yeah.
Exactly.
But at the end and at the back of every achievement is still the question of
when are you getting
when
married?
are you get, you know, you've just been called to the bar, but when are you getting
exactly.
married? You're just been inducted in as a medical doctor, but when are you getting? Because like until you get married.
So I think we need to spread the quote unquote gospel more that women have a life. Yes. So right from when you have a girl child, you shouldn't it shouldn't be that a girl child must know how to be domestic. No. If she doesn't want to be domestic, you don't force her to be domestic because you think she's going to end up in another man's house.
Yeah.
So what are the what do they call them? The agencies that gives
The
Housekeeping.
domestic stuff.
yes, the domestic staff agencies. What are they there for? A woman should be able to be comfortable in her own skin, in her own home, even as a married woman, and say that I have fixed my nails, I am not doing the dishes. So we are paying someone to do that. But society has made women believe that once you are seated and doing nothing, or maybe using your brains to fetch the money, you don't even wake up to go to an office or something, and then you get someone to domestic staff to help you with the chores, you are lazy.
But you see, the thing is, Francisca, inherent in almost every African man is that scale of measuring whether you can take care of the house, whether you can cook. They may not say it, but it's like it's there. It's
Okay,
Can-
so
can I
that is
come
why
in?
I'm saying that I feel you, the woman, should know what you want. And it's not about pleasing the man. If the man feels like you can't scrub, you can. I recently, about a month ago, I watched a video on Facebook, and it was between a man and a woman. So the man was asking the lady how many hours she was going to use to clean his big house. And then the lady answered, it depends on the number of housekeepers you want me to hire. And the gentleman said, why would I hire a housekeeper? And she also fired back, why would I have to clean your house? Because I married you, because you are living in my house. And the lady told her, have you paid for these nails I am wearing? No. Okay, so what if I pay for the nails? She said, well, you are paying for the nails. Are you going to pay for my mental torture? All the times that I have to stay with you and inhale all your quote unquote nonsense? Would you pay me for that? He said, no, I could get you a psychologist. Okay, if you can get me a psychologist, I can get you a housekeeper. So we need to get that balance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I want
Juliet,
to
go
say
ahead.
something.
Sure.
I feel like, back in, let's say, our mother's or our grandmother's time, normally our mother stayed or our grandmother stayed in the house whilst the man goes to hunting or wherever farming and brings in the spoils or not spoils, brings in
We
the food and
understand.
everything. But now the typical man wants you to do the house chores and still share the bills. That is what the issue is now. We are working women. Sometimes some of us, me, I close sometimes as late as 9 p.m. And yes, when it comes to the bills, you want us to share it equally. But when it comes to the house chores, I am the woman.
Yeah.
But where does the man come in? Then let me sit in the house, do those chores, and then you go and bring in the money. But when it comes to the bills, you want us to share it equally. When it comes to house chores,
You don't want
to share it. Everyone and what works for them in the household, though. Some women don't mind doing all the chores and still bringing in or contributing into the bills, which is fine. Whatever works for the two of you. But sorry, as I said, Kwasiebu, when you are providing almost half or even more, women are even working more and providing more. But the men want to say, oh, you are the woman, you should clean, you should cook, you should do this, you should do. But when it comes to the bills, oh, we have to share it.
Yeah.
That is what I wanted to say. That is why people are shifting away from all these. Because why would I have to come in and do all the house chores, clean, wash, do everything, and then when it comes to the bills, you want me to contribute at least half or even more sometimes?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do that.
You would, yeah.
Yes, at least
clearly.
come in, do something. Let's
Yeah.
all pitch
in, and do
pitch in, wash, do this, start this.
You know that these
And-
people will be listening to us and saying that we are difficult.
We are not
Oh,
difficult.
we are not.
But Doc wants to say something.
Okay,
So
no.
Doc, go
Yes.
ahead.
Man, traditional notion of a man and his expectations of a woman. But we are moving from that place. Men have evolved. There are some men who are in that age, but there are some men who are different. And so when you are looking for a partner, that is why you listen to the person. What is his value system? Are you going to marry a man who values your housework more than the contribution you make in terms of other areas of life? My husband prefers that I hire somebody to do all of the house chores so that he can have me all to himself, or have me go out there and be amazing and do the things that only I can do. And that is what makes my husband happy. And when I was looking for a man, those were the things I was looking for. And so in your bid to find a man, men have evolved. So look for a man who has evolved. And who will not say that I'm marrying you to be a housewife and to cook. I'm a great cook. I know how to do everything house chores. But in my house, we prefer to pay people to do that work so that I can be a wife. My husband said, you haven't gone to barber your hair. Every 2 weeks, you must barber your hair. You must look nice. And that is what makes my husband happy. And, the past, some things have changed. And so find the men who have evolved and have a better value system. Somebody who understands you, has a similar value system as you have. And you can be a wife and never cook, and your husband will never have an issue with it, because he draws more value from you than you being in the kitchen and cooking a banquet. Men want great sex. If you spend all of your Saturday cooking and scrubbing, would you have energy to come and give him reverse cowgirl or wear heels and do lap dance for him at night? So things have changed, and the men that are coming, there are those that have evolved. So if you're an evolved woman, find a man who has evolved. And if you married early and your man has not evolved, find a way to bring him up to speed, because the only constant thing in life is change. We can't keep doing the same thing that our grandparents did. Life has changed, things have changed, and we need to change with the times.
Okay.
And I also want to say here that for me, I married not because I can't live, I can't do without marriage. I know very well that I could have done without ever marrying again. A lot of people are like, but I thought you would not marry again. You are looking so nice and happy now. Let me tell you, you may not agree with me, but a man who is married, happily married, or a woman who is happily married is never the same as a woman who is not married or a man who is not married. Even the Bible says two is better than one. And if you are a single woman, you can have, I was very successful before I got married. But I know that being married to a valuable man has added more value to my life.
Yeah.
And my life is so much better being married than when I was single. It all depends on the kind of man you marry, the kind of conversations you have had, and what you have decided your life should be.
Yeah.
The devil is in the communication and your expectations. And you need to agree. How can two walk together except they agree? So you must have the same value system, and then it will be good.
Okay, Doc. I'll come back to you on a question, but let me open the phone lines. I want to find out if you're listening to us, if you're a guy, and you're dating a woman over 30 or a woman over 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. What is it like for you? What is it like for you? What has it been like for you? What's your experience when it comes to dating older women? I want to talk about looks as we get older and dating. So, Doc, I'm going to start with you. Do you feel a certain pressure to look a certain way? And then Juliet as well. Do you feel a certain pressure to look a certain way, keeping up with the trends, the hips and the this and the that and the that, as a single woman, Juliet, but also for you, Doc, as a woman who's married to somebody who's slightly younger? Do you feel pressure to look a certain way?
I'd want to go first. For me, I think that looking nice and looking presentable is a choice that I have made for myself. First, to look nice. And when I look nice and I look at myself in the mirror, I'm very happy with myself. And that is most important for me. Whatever anybody else thinks besides my husband.
In the dating pool, and so you're looking at how other women look as well.
Yeah. So for me, I think when I was in my 20s, I was quite slimmer, very slim. I used to even model.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I have gained, let's say, double the weight, even with me here looking slim. So those who know me then, sometimes when yesterday like this, I posted a picture of myself when I was slimmer and I was modeling and I had the makeup and everything on my face. And everyone was like, oh, you were looking so sexy then, you were looking all this. So there's this kind of perception about people wanting you to look slim, slender, sexy, that kind of thing. But I felt like that time was a time that you attract a certain kind of men, younger men, because you're sexy or whatever. Not like I'm not attractive now, but I think I'm okay in my body now.
I also don't necessarily agree with you that slimmer is sexier. No,
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that that's what mostly the younger generation thinks.
I think that's what the younger women think.
Exactly.
Not necessarily the younger men.
Okay.
I think it's women. I think that kind of pressure now is women giving women unnecessary pressure.
So everybody's like, what happened to you? Why? I said, please, I'm more comfortable now in my body. I think I have some kind of luxury now. I'm comfortable with where I am. I make my money. I eat what I want to eat. I'm okay. I'm not obese, or I'm not too big that I'll say, I have to lose some weight. I'm okay. I have the assets, and I feel like I even attract better men.
Yeah.
In this my body more than. So as for me, I don't have any pressure. I have a lot of proposals that come my way most of the time. As I said, some men think that whenever they propose to you, you have to accept one because of your age and all that. And they're like, why at this age too, you want to, flex? But there are 101 men that come to you maybe in a year. Are you supposed to accept everybody's proposal?
Yeah.
So I always tell them, when somebody, you can't love everybody who loves you. You can't date everybody who wants you. And the men refuse to understand that particular
I think
thing.
that also gets to me a lot when somebody approaches you and they feel like because you are older, so subconsciously it's like they're doing you a favor by approaching you, and so they come with a certain attitude of I'm talking to you, and you must. Hey, you're looking at them like if you were the last human being on earth,
I wouldn't even date you.
Like you know what I mean, and that's one of the things I think is really annoying about getting older and being single. Sometimes it's just that kind of entitlement. It's just an annoying thing that our society has, towards women who are older and women who have children, because obviously, the whole born 1, born 2, born 3 thing, it comes up for me. I have 2 kids, and so obviously,
But,
I think
but you
with
think
the
people, the born one thing, I think I've had a couple of men tell me that they prefer someone who has children. One, because they feel you are fertile. Most of these 20s to 30, 20s to 30s, you do a lot of bad things. So abortions upon abortion. So now, even if you are 25, or let's say 25 to 30, and you don't have a child and not married, they feel like you've had so many abortions.
You have a problem.
You have a problem. I've had so many people approach
satisfy
me.
society.
Yes,
Honestly.
I have so
It's
many
like,
people. You can't satisfy them. Approach me and like, oh, I like you because you have a child, and I know one, you are responsible because when you have a child, your care is extra.
I mean, you're a
and
mother.
You're a mother, yeah. You have that kind of abadaya. Sorry to say it in tree. Abadaya.
Okay.
You have the heart to love people, or you have the love for people, and also you are fertile. So that means you can easily have kids. So for me, I think most people prefer the people who have children, as are now, especially those men who are older, because they feel like, oh, this person can
honestly,
easily.
I'm glad that that's your experience, because we have had on the show, other women who have children, and people come at them for it, like, you're born 1, you're born 2, so obviously, your value or your this, which I think is really, like, I don't know how they put the thoughts together. Yeah, it is. Let me take some messages. Edmund says, okay, my question to Doc is what key lessons she learns from her previous marriage that guided her in her second marriage. Kalulu says, no responsible man shares bills equally with his wife, no matter how much she earns. It's the man's responsibility to take care of the home. Virtuous women contribute towards it, but it is not her responsibility to do so. So he's not supposed to request for it. That's Kalulu. Wow. Okay. This message is for you, Juliet.
Okay.
I don't even know where to start from. Okay. Let me start from the beginning. Hi, Nima. If she just has one son, hook me up. Oh. Her voice sounds sweet.
Wow.
Is she a practicing Christian? Age is just a number. Now wait for it. I dated a 70-year-old widow when I was a 26-year-old single teacher.
Wow.
We both needed companionship. And you didn't add your name. Wow. Even me cried as wow, like 26 and 70 is like 44.
Yeah.
Yeah, 44. They needed companionship.
Wow.
Wow. We are still at the wow. Me, I want to know the details of the relationship. Like the companionship, no, what did it mean? Anyway, thank you so much for your messages. Apologies, our phone lines are not, they're a bit, so I'm sorry if your calls haven't been able to come through. But our time is almost up, so let me just do a quick sweep of the room. Francisca, let me start with you.
Okay.
Just your closing remarks. I mean, you are married, so obviously you haven't necessarily had to face the challenge of growing older and looking for a husband.
Oh no.
But I'm sure you have friends who are, and and all of that. So what's your advice to them from the viewpoint of somebody who's been married for a long time?
Okay, so I'll tell them that marriage is not all that rosy. Yes, we show the good sides, but we fight behind closed doors. Marriage comes with its own challenges and hindrances. So whilst you are kind of waiting to get married, I think it's the best time you do all the things in your bucket list.
Which you may
Be
not be able
acquiring
to do
them.
once you settle down and
Be acquiring them.
Yeah.
Be moving. Don't just sit down and be waiting idle. Be living the life. Be enjoying life to the fullest. Be comfortable in your own skin. Be yourself. Because you get married and you realize that, oh, it's not all that what you pictured in
It's
your
not
mind.
yeah.
Your happiness is not tied to the marriage or what you get from the marriage. You can get everything in the marriage and still not be happy.
And still, exactly.
So you should be comfortable with yourself and then be ticking all the boxes in your bucket list whilst you wait
You
for
wait.
the said marriage.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Francisca.
welcome.
Juliet, we are putting you on the market. You are too comfortable. You are
But
too.
who said that we who are married don't even get that?
Yes, I mean, yeah, of course.
It's
That's
so
what that
much
one
pressure.
did. There's pressure.
Very
but,
annoying.
But right now, Juliet, we are.
Oh, Juliet,
because
yeah,
Juliet, the
sure.
way she has relaxed, if we leave her,
Oh,
like she's enjoying
I'm sure
her life
we'll
too
get,
much.
we'll get a repetition of the 70 year and the 20
Actually, so please, like, tell us how you are going to change and how you are going to put yourself out there more.
Okay. So I believe in confidence. One thing my mom told me that I have worked with is that for a woman, your work is everything to you. Once you have your work and you are, as Francisca said, able to take care of the basic needs you have, you don't just go in for any man. You know that, okay, you know what you want. You know that, I can buy, at first, these young ladies, auto pizza mana, then and one Indomie, that kind of thing. But you get to a certain stage where you realize that those are basic needs. It's something small that you can just pass here and then. And I thought take away 200 cedis near a day. At first, 2 million. I mean, 2 million. Them go to Janissa for just lunch per day. So confidence, be confident in yourself. Don't let those people's comments or pressure. No, just be yourself.
Right. Well,
whatever
thank you so
it
much.
is.
Thank you so much for that, Juliet. Thank you, Francisca. Thank you, Dr. Osai Cranton. This has been Strong and Sassy. We'll be back next week. A very big thank you to the whole team. Noella is here to bring us the news at 8. Stay tuned in. Don't go anywhere.